What up, brothers? We're coming at you with another Dodge Charger of Lemars Mizzle over here hanging out.
We're doing too much.
We're about to do his headers over here, as you saw in the thumbnail. Shorties. This one's gonna be fun. Shorties, not long tubes, because they don't fit very well. Then we'd have to redo the exhaust. And Jake's over here pulling a truck. But this one's gonna be tough just because a lot of times when you're doing headers on other cars or exhaust manifolds, you have a window in the strut tower, but this one there is no window in the strut tower, as you can see from the wheel well and whatnot. That cover is deceiving and it doesn't actually go all the way through. It's a solid block. So we're gonna have to go up underneath and getting around, skinning around, but I'll show you what's good. So we got the BBK headers. Obviously filming this out of line because I already pulled this out, but I know I didn't cover BBK headers, Shorty headers. Good piece. And it came with both all new hardware and gaskets. So it's a full kit. All right, so first things first, we got it up in the air. We're gonna take off the cat pipe here, clamps here, and luckily we did the engine on this thing not too long ago, so these bolts shouldn't be too bad. So everything should come down pretty nicely. And then you have the shield under there you gotta take off, but let's take this exhaust down first. Oxygen sensor wires before you take your exhaust down, before you break stuff. So, gonna do that right now. Oh yes.
Now.
Oh. So what we're gonna have to do with this exhaust is we gotta, since there's no flex pipe or anything to move around on here and we need to get it to slide out of this joint this way, we need to move everything backwards so we can get it off the flange up here and then we can pull the pipes out the front. So I'm gonna release it from all the hangers, get a jack to hold up the exhaust system so it doesn't fall down, and then we can get it so that we can slide everything out.
You said Ferrari? Oh yeah, the damn.
Dude, just missed a Ferrari.
We just missed a Ferrari.
Just missed a go by.
It's ours fault. He'll
probably come back later today. Maybe we can catch it next time it comes by. Oh,
maybe he'll
come out there.
Maybe he'll come by and do a burnout.
That'd be sweet. I've never seen a dude in a Ferrari do a burnout.
I don't think a Ferrari is supposed to do burnouts. He ain't gonna do burnout. Fuck you, these tires are expensive.
You're just gonna fly around turns instead.
And now you have a crowbar.
Yep, because your exhaust doesn't want to come off with regular tools.
You know what that means? My exhaust is especially ghetto.
So instead of the typical hose clamp or exhaust hanger tool that I use, I gotta use the crowbar. I take down this cross member because it is not letting us drop it far enough to get this to get that insulator out. So I'll probably have to take this one down too. We might need a second jack. My goodness. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep this one just because it'll hold it up a little bit while slide these back. Now I can get these cat pipes out.
Yeah, look at that. Oh my God.
She burns clean. That's for sure.
Look at, ooh, yeah, look at that. Look how clean that is. That's called 93 octane. Right, Ari?
Oh yeah.
93 boys. You had no other choice, but I just do it to do it. Speaking of that, Ari's YouTube channel, 93 octane tune, coming sometime soon, hopefully.
We will definitely be coming soon sometime.
Sometime soon, maybe this month, maybe next month.
This is kind of one of those where you just gotta wiggle it, maneuver it, kind of loosen up. If it's really hard, just put a little heat torch and whatnot. That'll help out some too. It also doesn't help that the exhaust is completely loose and just hanging, so it's not stable and I can't yank on it. So grab onto that exhaust real quick, Jake. It wants to move around on me. All right, next is this heat shield. I don't see the bolts in the front, from here at least. I haven't looked in the front yet. But you got one there, one right there, and then another one right above it right there behind that oxygen sensor. Definitely gonna be tough. That one's not too hard, but that one we're gonna need probably some swivels and whatnot to get in there. They don't look too rusty, so it should come right off. Then the fronds in the front, I removed the splash guard right here, and I'm going up next to the wheel pan. There's one bolt, and then the other one is right there behind that There it is, you can see it there. So there too, you can get them in pretty easily. I can see them through the side here too. That's the same bolt. And the one on the bottom is kind of covered, but I can get around there, so.
You're gonna hire me full time?
Strictly as a filmer.
How far are we?
So I got the shield released. This is actually, it was really easy with long extensions in the front. In the back, I just had to get tight with it over here, which is not a big deal. Hard part's gonna be getting the shield out so I can get to all the bolts. We're not gonna reuse the shield, obviously, so I'm not really worried about saving it or keeping it the shape. So right now I'm trying to just pry it out because it's kind of getting stuck behind this.
Give me a wrench.
Oxygen sensor.
Give me a wrench. I own the car. Let me destroy it. Give me a wrench.
Give me this.
It's a hot now. Oh shit. Man. Oh, just and that purchase. So let's come forward.
All right, so we got that boy out. Whoa, let me turn this volume down. There, we can see that. So this one was so easy. The bolts, you can get it to it, no extension, just long deep socket. And then the other one's like the same one with the long extension coming in from the front here. On the way you gotta do it, on both sides is come over the control arm, and then you can see them back in there real easily, both top and bottom with the light. So now he's just gonna pull this one off. This one should be easier. And he just got this with the crowbar. That's all he's pretty much doing is just getting after it with the crowbar. How fun was it to pull those heat shields?
It was terrible. A little terrible.
Terrible?
Well, they're not that bad. It's just, you gotta get behind. You gotta make sure you take that air sensor out if you want to make it easier, so that way they just slide right out. Besides that, you're gonna be yanking it and twisted.
Okay. Yeah, it took him about a while. Yeah, crowbar and pliers. You got it. So now the fun begins with all the bolts for the headers. I'm just gonna kind of run through them. They're pretty obvious, you know, you see them, you remove them. If there's any hard ones, I'll let you know what I do. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward what we gotta do. We're getting these stuff loose up here. Nothing's really too complicated. I got this for some of the stuff, kind of the same thing with the shield. You're coming in from the side to get the bolts. It's really just taking some combinations like short extension, deep socket, short socket, longer extension for some of it to get up into the side. But it's nothing too crazy. I don't need any special tools. It's more just getting in there small. And I'm actually using the big ratchet, which a lot of times I'm using this little guy, which comes in handy. I know a lot of people have that with a 3/8 drive. But yeah, so nothing too crazy. Getting up in there, got one bolt left, and we're coming down with the driver's side. Don't forget to pull your oxygen sensor wire. I almost did, and I'm ready to start yanking on this thing. If I didn't do that, I'd be blowing stuff out.
I'm not getting the action here.
Coming at you.
Oh! Look at that.
Now that's, see, and this is one of the things, you see all that carbon trace? That's where the exhaust port is actually at, but it's hitting that brick wall and it's not letting it exit like it should.
You want to give them a good comparison here?
So we got here, where it's more of an oval. It's bigger port, so it won't hit that wall. And not only that, the welds on it are smooth too. So how this has literally no runner, it just dumps. And this will actually give it some velocity exit. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Let me get some gaskets fixed. And then the gasket and the headers come slotted, so I have the bolts in there that are already ready to go in, which makes it sweet and easy. So it'll stay in there while I go in. The old ones do too, but they're in a different spot. But now I can just put that in there, lay it on in. If you didn't take the battery off, watch that, otherwise you will throw sparks. I'm getting crazy and reckless, and I didn't take it off, so.
Lemar did.
See, yeah, Lemar scrapped it. I wish I got that on film. That would've been good.
Oh, you had to take the bolt up?
Because it's hard for me to see where to slide. Yeah, that's something. It's easy for me to get it in these bottom two, but I can't see the bolt where this one's going on. So I'm just gonna take that top one out. It's not really holding the gasket much anyway. And as long as something's holding it, I can get up in there. Now that we're putting this back together, just some of the challenges we will be facing. It fits in there, nice, it sits where we're supposed to. The bolts on top are not gonna be easily accessible because I can kind of go around the manifold pretty easily to get it last time. It doesn't work here that way. So I might have to come from the top, and it's kind of gonna be going around a blind hole, but got enough room to get my hand in there, so it should work. And then the other thing for the driver's side is the dipstick tube actually attaches to that top bolt. So you see that bolt right there? I'm putting the original stud in so that I can put another nut on top. That bracket right there that's hanging is the dipstick tube bracket. So I definitely want to keep that on there. So I'm going to put the original stud back in so we can attach that up to the block. Clarification on this manifold, because I was going to put this stud back on here so I could put the dipstick tube and bolt it to it, but the original manifold down here is way thicker, and so this actually bottoms out in the hole before it actually gets tight on the manifold. What I ended up doing is making a spacer, because the dipstick tube, I can't actually put it flat on the new header flange because it's so thin, and the way that's bent, it doesn't sit right. I'd have to push it forward, and it's gonna take too much. It's gonna be really shitty. So what I did is I just made this spacer that's pretty much clearing the distance so that stud will actually tighten up, and then we can put it on like original with that stud and then another nut on top of it. And to show you what I did with that spacer, as you can see how I put that spacer in there and then put that original stud on it so that I can put the oil dipstick tube in the right spot. So, looks nice, works well, and we're gonna ship it on home. All right, so I'm gonna come down with this thing at this point to get the rest of the top ones. I got pretty much all the bottom ones on by finger, but I wanna get them all started just so I know that everything's cool as far as fitment and all. So I'm gonna bring this thing down because I have no room, like I was explaining before, to actually get to the top ones. My hands don't fit, and I can't see it either way. So I think I'm gonna have better look up top. Now that we're on top, we can see, you know, I can barely get a hand in there, but I can feel the flange pretty easily, and there's one hole there. So not a big deal. This is gonna be a little harder because of the AC lines, but I still should be able to get in there. And the forward one's gonna be the hardest, but I might come down through here and go out and around, which, that one's good. So actually, I'm just gonna have to go right in between the washer bottle. I don't know yet. I'll let you know. So it wasn't too bad. Just like I was talking, I had to go in through here by my hand. I don't have it tight yet, but at least I got it started. I can figure if I get my hand on it, I get the right size extension, get in there. This one was definitely a little bit more challenging, but same thing, going in through here. There's another hose that I picked up with my other hand. I basically put my knees up on here and use this hand to pull all the hoses up and out of the way, and then use my other hand to get the wheel in, the bolt in. So still got to tighten everything up. Those are the only two that I couldn't reach, and then the other one I have here is because of the replacement for the dipstick tube. Other than that, it's pretty simple. Just got to get the right extensions so that I can get those tight from up top. And while Lemars over here getting the oxygen sensors out of the old manifolds right now.
Well, real quick, he went to answer a phone call, but what makes this job easier, also getting to the heads, is if you remove or loosen the coolant reservoir. Look, you can look right down in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hopefully you guys can see it. But it says, damn it, it says BBK right there. It's a little dark. I don't know where you did, hold on.
Now that we've got all the bolts tight, it's time to have a little fun before we put this exhaust all the way on. So we're gonna start this bad boy up and see what she sounds like with open headers. Ready?
Yeah. Whoa! Let's go. Rev it, rev it. Whoa!
Oh, this sounds so good. Oh yeah. Oh, this is so aggressive.
Sweet.
So we got the, everything's tight up here. Oxygen sensors are just going in now on both sides. The stuff I like to use every time, regardless of whether it's new installation or reinstallation, anti-seize for the oxygen sensors so they come out easily. Now I just got to put the studs in the collector because it did not come installed, and that's how the originals are, so it'll go up to the original exhaust. So I got to put these in real quick. So I was just putting the studs up in here, and they don't even go in like a thread and they start locking up. So what I'm gonna do is just chase them real quick so they do go in nice and easily and we don't have any issues later. It's just because of the coating that's on them, it got into the thread, so it makes it hard to go on. So I'm just gonna chase it, and for reference, it is a 10-150. thread. Done with the threading. Now they go in nice and easy. They come out nice and easy. That's what we were looking for. Now that the oxygen sensor plugged in, now we're ready to mate up the rest of this exhaust and call it a day. And then plug in the oxygen sensors and the cat pipes and everything else will be good. Got it on up there. So Lemar had to pull the exhaust all the way back. If you remember, we had the hangers completely released so that we can get the exhaust where we want to. So he pulled it back, got it in here first, and then I had to just rotate and twist them, and while he was pushing up forward to actually get the bolts in there. Right now I just have it held in place so that we can get the rest of the hangers on first, and then we'll draw everything up. But right now, going for the hangers, always WD-40 hangers, so they go on nice and easy. It's official. Everything is in there. Oh, I still gotta tighten that up. I missed that. That's good. But that's why I'm doing this. I'm going over, just double checking clamps, double checking. Well, I know the header bolts are good. These are good. One thing with these bolts is the studs are not long enough to get the regular washers on there. The lock washers are more important, so I went ahead and just put the lock washers behind it and tightened it up that way. It's got the oxygen sensor wires plugged in. I'm just gonna go around now and just double check and make sure that there's enough space, that there's no hoses or anything that are near the headers, because now we have totally different clearances because they're bigger. So I'm just gonna make sure that there's nothing touching them or close enough that I think would melt and cause issues later on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and double check all that. Then we're gonna bring it down and start her up. One thing we did was that lower radiator hose, or not radiator hose, lower hose for the coolant reservoir. It was a little close, it wasn't touching, but I wanted to make sure it was far enough away, so we went and just zip tied it to the AC line here. And then down in there, it's probably not gonna be able to see with the camera, but the brake lines that you can see in the film right there, they're really close. So we're gonna take some old heat shielding from the old manifold, boom, and throw that over top and zip tie them on there just to make sure that it doesn't get overheated. So other than that, that's it, and then we're gonna start it. Yeehaw!
We just made a heat shield.
From a heat shield?
From a heat shield.
You can't even see it there.
You can't see it, but you know.
If you see it blue, oh, you see the blue!
You can see it, you can see it. Let me get this. Yeah, there it is, there it is. This guy makes stuff from stuff that's already been made, but better.
Yeah, do my best out here. And just to clarify what kind of exhaust setups he's got, no muffler in the back, straighted, and then he has SLP loud mouse for resonators back here, which is why it's so loud.
Where's the brush at?
So I can get you that in here in a minute, yeah, for sure. I'll let you do that. Let's hear this thing. So what's the scoop?
It's a big difference, actually.
Really?
Yeah, like when you switch gears, I don't know if it's like an air gap or whatever the hell it was. Like the actual restriction that I felt from those is gone. Like last time I was running and before we did the cold air intake, I ran up there. It was like I did like 90. I did like 108 this one.
No shit.
Yeah, like it's like in the way it's flowing, it's crazy. It's just like sucking it in, pushing it out.
Power delivery.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that wraps it up, guys. You heard it from the man. He likes it. Talk about horsepower gains. I don't know how much. Let me know what you guys think about this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I always like answering them. Like, subscribe, and let's keep on going. I'll see you on the next one.